So it looked like Caitlin Clark's agent has found herself in the headlines. Guys, for this one here,
direct.
We got
here it says a slew of prominent WNBA player agents sent the letter Thursday to WNBA Executive Director Terry Carmichael Jackson expressing our collective presence for transparency and coordinated communication, with agents moving forward in collective bargaining agreement negotiations, according to a letter obtained by ESPN.
It looks like Caitlin Clark's agent has found herself in the headlines over a developing situation. A group of prominent WNBA player agents reportedly sent a formal letter Thursday to WNBA Executive Director Terry Carmichael Jackson, expressing what they called a collective push for transparency and coordinated communication moving forward in the collective bargaining agreement negotiations. According to a letter obtained by ESPN, the agents representing some of the biggest names in women's basketball sent direct correspondence to the players' union. And the backstory is far more complicated than many expected. Clark's agent is involved.
Right now.
The middle of the pack players, let's say the Lexi Hall group of the world, they sensed that they were about to be screwed over by its own WNBA, who is only looking out for max level veteran players. You guys are going to get your 1.3 million and the rookies are going to make some money and everybody else is going to be screwed. And they caught on to it. They started calling them greedy. And they're not going to sit still and get played by Nneka Ogwumike and the WNBA, who has lost all trust in the players. And now the agents want to deal directly with the owners.
Reese's agent is involved. Paige Bueckers, Aya Wilson, and other elite stars are connected to this development. And what they are asking for could significantly alter the direction of these CBA talks. The central debate many fans are raising is whether WNBA leadership has leaned on the so-called Caitlin Clark effect to strengthen revenue leverage, while questions remain about how that revenue might ultimately be distributed across players. Some believe mid-tier players fear being squeezed between max-level veterans and top rookies, worried that the structure being negotiated could leave them behind. There is growing frustration among certain groups who feel unheard, and that tension has spilled into the open. Agents now want clearer access and communication, and some are even seeking more direct dialogue with ownership as negotiations intensify.
Also from Alexa Philippou, courtesy of Alexa Philippou and ESPN, where it says, ESPN's Alexa Philippou with the details on WNBA agents call for more transparency and communication from the players' union. Behind the scenes, agents have been talking about this issue for many months. So, Nneka Ogwumike, Breanna Stewart, Napheesa Collier have not been being upfront with the agents about what is going on, and the agents represent a lot of the players beyond these stars. You see, what's happened is,
now before we get
to understand the gravity of this moment, it's important to recognize that agents rarely coordinate formal letters to a union unless there is serious concern. These representatives compete for clients and contracts every year. Unified action from nearly a dozen high-profile agents suggests significant dissatisfaction with the process. Their letter called for greater transparency and more coordinated communication in CBA discussions. In straightforward terms, it signals that some agents do not fully trust how information has been shared about negotiation progress and specific proposals. They want clearer insight into what is being discussed and potentially greater inclusion in final stage conversations. Agents are not approaching this from ideology alone. Their business model is directly tied to player contracts. They earn a percentage of the deals they negotiate. If contracts cannot be signed because a new CBA is not finalized, their income pauses alongside the players. Reports suggest that roughly 80% of WNBA players are currently free agents. That means a vast majority cannot secure new contracts until an agreement is reached. Each day negotiations stall is another day of financial uncertainty for both players and the agents representing them. When agents connected to names like Clark, Reese, Bueckers, and Wilson collectively signal frustration, it places meaningful pressure on the union. These representatives manage the contracts of players who drive significant commercial interest. That commercial surge has been widely discussed, especially in relation to Clark's arrival and the increased visibility, ticket sales, television ratings, and merchandise growth that followed. League ownership has acknowledged new financial momentum, including additional funding streams linked to recent growth. Within negotiations, revenue sharing remains one of the largest gaps. The league has reportedly proposed a model centered around net revenue, while the players' union has pushed for a percentage tied to gross revenue. Those definitions carry substantial financial differences. Estimates suggest the salary cap under each model could vary by several $1 million in year one alone. That gap is at the heart of a 16-month stalemate where both sides present financial data supporting their positions. Housing provisions represent another unresolved issue. Whether compensation continues through team-provided housing or shifts to stipends affects player value is calculated under a new agreement. Meanwhile, the calendar is tightening. A March 10th deadline looms for completing a term sheet without impacting the 2026 season schedule. The WNBA draft, training camp, and regular season preparations all depend on a finalized CBA. Expansion teams in Toronto and Portland further compress the timeline. The union responded by offering meetings and announcing plans to survey players about recent proposals. Agents, however, requested involvement even in the framing of survey questions, underscoring deeper trust concerns. When representatives question not only outcomes but the wording of communication tools themselves, it reflects a broader credibility challenge during active negotiations. At its core, this situation revolves around transparency, timing, and distribution of a rapidly evolving revenue landscape. The agents for many of the league's most prominent players have made it clear they want direct insight and clarity as the March 10th deadline approaches. The clock is ticking, the stakes are high, and the outcome of these negotiations will shape the financial structure of the WNBA for years to come. The tension surrounding these negotiations did not emerge overnight. It has been building quietly for months, fueled by private conversations, stalled progress, and a growing sense among certain representatives that communication has not matched the stakes involved. When a league experiences rapid commercial growth, expectations rise just as quickly. Players want a structure that reflects their value. Owners want sustainability and long-term stability. Agents, positioned in the middle, want clarity and efficiency, so they can secure deals for their clients without uncertainty hanging over every conversation. What makes this moment particularly delicate is the intersection of timing and visibility. The WNBA is arguably in one of the most high-profile periods in its history. Television ratings have climbed. Social media has surged. Merchandise numbers have drawn mainstream attention. Corporate sponsors have entered with renewed enthusiasm. That momentum has created both opportunity and pressure. Opportunity because there is more money on the table than ever before. Pressure because every stakeholder wants a fair share of that momentum translated into long-term financial security. From the agent's perspective, the concern is less about philosophical disagreement and more about process. They are asking for transparency because the numbers being discussed are not abstract figures on paper. Those numbers determine contract ceilings, roster decisions, free agency movement, and career earnings for the athletes they represent. When communication feels filtered or incomplete, trust erodes. And once trust erodes during collective bargaining, negotiations become exponentially more difficult. Another layer intensifying the situation is the makeup of today's player pool.